Show. Hey, yo. Back again on a Sunday evening. Still kind of sick. Last night I really was sick and slept like crazy, which helped. Slept a lot and then took a nap as well. But helps, I guess, when you're medicated, it kind of helps you sleep, but still stuffed up and all that. I don't know. I know. Poor Chonko. This is going to be the video. I'm going to start. I think this is going to be two parts. It is going to be two parts of answers to the questions from the question video from, I don't know, several days ago. Really, really cool questions. And I was happy so many people participated and watched that video. So, here's number one of two. I think what we're going to do is we're going to answer only questions this one, and anything where I have to show comics will be the next one. That's kind of how I'm going to break it up, I think. And that should be tomorrow, I think. I have a couple other comics arriving from Yaniv tomorrow, so I think I'll be able to, just do a show and tell on that, and then the stuff to answer any requests to show things. So that's what we'll do. Housekeeping. Remember to vote for the awards. I think the winners are announced beginning of November, so you have some time. I'm going to do some kind of reminders and stuff, but if you want to vote for good old Chonko, I'm nominated in 3 categories. You'll see me. The only one that I've ever really lobbied about is the best new channel, because it's kind of the only one I really felt like I deserved. At least in the nomination, I felt like I deserved to be nominated. But there are good channels. There are good channels in all of these, and a lot of friends' channels. And support the buddies' channels. I hope you guys support your friends. But I'll talk a little bit more about specifics. I'm not going to lobby hard in the categories where I'm nominated. Like I said, I really wanted to make the finals, and kind of the only one I've even mentioned is new channel thing. So, we had a great interview. If you didn't watch the interview last night, the Saturday live show on Big Nasty's channel, we had Brian McClay on. I thought it was really interesting. He's an interesting guy and give a lot of history and tips for YouTube channels. I think you guys might really enjoy it if you haven't watched that yet. Also, the giveaway, the last video. That's how you enter the video. That's how you enter the video. It was the last video. Chonko. Yes, I'm still on medication. I'm not Dane Bramaged, I promise. Check out my last video. That's how you enter to win the big spicy sausages in this giveaway, and they're big spicy sausages, guys. But you have to comment what's your favorite Chonko video and why. That's it. That's all you got to do. But I just don't want it to be like something where it's like, I like such and such video. It's basically, I'm trying to weed out like people who have like 3 or 4 sock accounts who are just trying to win comics, and they don't watch the videos or anything. I want it to go to somebody who's an actual viewer, who likes what's going on here and is going to stick around. And to reward people who've been watching, that's the hope, is that it goes to an actual viewer, subscriber, and not just like some pretend account that somebody opened just to get free stuff. So, let's get to it. Let's start answering some questions. I have my telephone. I'm gonna start going through these. I'm just going to start reading them from the top. Where it requires me to show things, I'll mention I'm going to show it tomorrow. But and that's kind of relevant to the first one. First one is from Alan, Comic Collector Geek. Shout out to Alan. Subscribe to Alan's channel if you're not. I'm sure you have been already. But I'm glad my Q&A video has inspired you, which it did. It inspired me to start doing a question and answer video. I'm opening up to a lot more like personal questions and stuff too. And it's going to stay that way. Ask me anything as long as you're not violating terms of service or, trying to like dox me or something stupid. Just be cool. Could you show your Witch's Tales collection? I will. I'll probably show samples from it. I don't think I'm going to show all of them. I'll show like the cooler ones. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll show a handful of the ones I think are the cooler ones. So I will do that. Stay tuned. Robbie Joseph. Look at you, Chonko, almost to 555. Actually cruised past it. We're at 560 something now. I think 562, 563, something like that. Thanks. Welcome new people. That's so great. And willing to help newbies with their channels is very admirable of you. You have such a unique sense of humor, and the Emmy award goes to Chonko. Another good one. I also love your device that makes the loser sound. Be good, brother. Here, I'll do it. Here's one for you, Robbie. As I am still sick. Thanks. Robbie Joseph's one of the kindest people in the comic book community. Really, really good guy. He didn't have a question, but that's okay. Still reading all these. So, Robert A. Emmons Jr. We're going to have, I believe he goes by Robbie. We're going to have him on the Big Show next weekend. So tune in for that. I think you're going to really, really like that. It's really interesting. He's made some movies, and I think, I hope I'm identifying the correct person. I'm flattered you mentioned my comments, and I'm glad it hit home for what you're doing and achieving with the channel. But actually, in quotes, ha ha ha, I can't wait for this. I'm glad to be in on it. I got your back. That was part of that video too. I talked about a super secret video that's going to be released. But as I mentioned in my last video, I've shelved that for now. It's not going away. I'm going to do it. But the kind of troll video, waiting a little bit. I'm doing some actual content here. Again, to kind of, put the best foot forward for a little while here. It's like somebody tunes in and they're like, this dude's nominated? He's like, he's a moron, which still might happen, but, purposely being a moron maybe is not the right time. Archivist Adrift. What do your family and friends think about wait, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Skip Derek. Hold on. Gotta go back. Delay. I will come back. Derek Neiman asked, question number 1, what's your personal goal with your channel? Obviously more views and subs are great, but there's probably a deeper meaning. Is it a way to connect with people, to share knowledge? Is it a creative outlet like playing music or doodling? How do you know when you've accomplished this goal? Take them kind of one by one here. The goal of the channel initially was kind of a creative outlet. But also it was because I had gotten back into collecting, and I had started to like acquire kind of like Grail level comics, and I would talk about it. I would show it to like friends of mine, and they didn't give a shit. They didn't care. This was like, but this is really cool. They're friends or family, and no one cared. Like, to me, it was like a big deal, and they didn't care at all. And I was like, oh well. I was watching comic book YouTube at the time, like watching Alan's channel, Comic Collector Geek. I was watching the Comic Investments, I was watching Comic Tom, um, Comic Storian, Comic Tropes, Lunch Money Mike, and things like that. And these people that kind of were able to share their love of comics and that kind of thing. And I didn't really have that. I mean, like I had people who would, like that I liked it. So that was kind of the initial thing, was just to like an outlet to kind of, show, hey, look at this cool thing I got. And I saw other people were able to show, hey, look at this cool thing I got. And people really liked that you acquired this cool thing for the sake of it being what it was. And, and that part made me, and when I saw what Alan was doing, I kind of, I felt like I could do it. I felt like, I could talk about things and maybe make it interesting. And then the creative outlet, when I started doing it, I found it like scratched an itch I didn't even know I had. Doing something creative and speaking your mind and out into the void. And I had no idea what was going to happen with it, and I didn't know there was much of a goal beyond that. I didn't know how far it would go. I really thought it might be something where I might stop doing it after a month or two. Especially if people weren't paying any attention. But yeah, I was happy when people did, and like you say, likes and subscribers is nice. And yeah, it does. It keeps you going. Like, the likes and subscribers. I know some people are like, oh, I don't really care about that. And I always say, well, if you don't care at all that people aren't listening or liking, I mean, that's masturbation. Like, even if it's only your own gratification you're getting out of this, and you don't care that anybody's paying attention to you, it's kind of like, why are you even doing it? That I do, and I do like engaging with people. I like talking to people about it, and that's become a bigger focus of the channel to me, is engaging with people and talking to people and discussing and seeing what people think, and that's kind of led to the ultimate goal of the channel. And my mind of what I would like to do is I would like to do a lot more in the way of interviews, and it's one of the reasons why I've really been happy with like the past however many weeks where we've had really good interviews on the stream I do with Rich. That is something I really enjoy. I like having those conversations, and I like to learn. Learning has been a big part of this. Like, it's one of the reasons why I watch Beyond Wednesdays. It's one of the reasons why I watch Alan's channels, because I like things where I can learn, and this kind of engaging in with the interviews has been really cool for that. There are a lot of people I would love to talk to in comics who I think are fascinating, and I would like to hear more. Sorry. The only way to do that would be for the channel to grow. It has to get bigger and I mean, it's human nature that, I mean, if nobody's listening, why are you going to go on, give away valuable time to somebody if you're going to do an interview nobody hears? Maybe some people will, but I think it's more likely if you have a bigger audience, people are going to want to come on and, they can promote their things and blah, 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 and I think that's kind of the reasoning why I would like it to grow, is because it would access to, talking to a lot more people and the people I find fascinating. Like, I've like got dream things. Like, I would love to talk to Dave Sim. I know he doesn't talk to people, but that would be like, that's somebody I'm fascinated by. I mean, and there are others. I would like to talk to Sid Kabich. And I would, I mean, there are even people like, and a lot of times it's like controversial people. I'd like to talk to Neil Gaiman. I mean, I know he's probably not going to talk to anybody right now. I mean, he's in a lot of trouble, that guy. Or even just like, I would like to talk to some of the hidden collectors out there. Like there are, like, we know there are people, kind of in our circle who have really, really impressive collections, cool collections. Steppo has a cool collection. Doc has a cool collection. AG has a cool collection. Alan has a cool collection. Like, you talk to people who have really, really cool stuff, out there. But there are people who have like vaults, like multimillionaire guys out there that have like. I would like someday to talk to one of those guys, like where it's like that been collecting for a long time and have that hidden stuff that nobody gets to see. That would be cool. Anyway, that's kind of the ultimate goal would be to do more interviews and talk to more people. And I think the channel has to grow to do that. I don't know when I accomplish that goal, when I'm able to kind of do more of that. And I'd like to have a more polished look to the channel. I'm experimenting with that. So we'll see. And question 2, Hulk 180 or 181? I own both, 180 and 181. But 181 is the only one that's important, really. I mean, yeah. One panel, okay. I mean, it's fine. It's like, there are a lot of these comics where it's like that, but 181 is really all that's important between the two, honestly. Okay, now we get to Archivist. What do your family or Archivist Adrift? I'm sorry, people who don't know. What do your family and friends think about your comic collection and your YouTube channel? Do they care? Do they think it's cool? Do they think that you spend too much time or money on it? Also, how were your recent eBay sales? So the first part of that is going to be, yes, my family knew that I collected comics many, many years ago. I was really into comics. They knew it was like really an important thing for me. And they know, however many, probably just under 3 years ago, I started getting back into it. It's become I mean, I would say, people are seeing with the YouTube channel that it's growing and that kind of a thing. And, I think they're surprised that it's growing, and I think they're surprised that I'm doing it. As I'm normally a pretty private person. So like that's, I think, a surprise for, close friends and family. And as far as time and money, I think, I don't think all my family knows the money that's involved. I mean, they know that, look, I'm not going into debt. I'm not, losing my stuff. I'm not, it's not like a gambling addiction or something. I mean, I'm sure they know that there are times where I've dipped into my savings where it's like, it's like, holy cow, I'm sure, I've talked to, especially my dad, I've talked to a lot about it. And, I think my dad has a different perspective on things now than he did before. And, my dad was very frugal, growing up. And, but he would buy things that he knew were cool. And he would always buy things that were the best. When he would spend money, he would not spend money on the value thing of that. He wouldn't buy much, but when he would buy it, he would always buy what was, really, really good. And in talking to him, so if you don't know, I've talked about it before, but my dad has stage 4 cancer. He's doing very well right now. There's a medication. He's responded to it, but he has a stage 4 lymphoma. And it was really scary when he was diagnosed and stuff. But I think this has given him a little bit of a different perspective. And when I talked to him, and I'm like, yeah, I bought this comic. It was like $2,000 or something. Where I think many years ago he would have been like, what are you doing? I think now he's kind of like, yeah, he's like, yeah, you don't have a family or anything. What the hell else are you going to do? Of course, do it. So it's almost like it gives me license. So yeah. My dad watches the channel sometimes. He was watching it a lot earlier, but I think now it's become far too inner rung of hell nerdy. And it's like you really have to be kind of a comic nerd to get into it now with the stuff's going on. And Um, yeah, that's kind of how that is. And friends watch. A couple friends, a couple former girlfriends watch. And I get comments sometimes like, "Hey, clean up your beard" and that kind of stuff. Um, and how are your recent eBay sales? I'll show this tomorrow. I'll show you the graphic. Last week was pretty good. I think it was. I think I sold just under $400 worth of stuff on eBay. So not bad. I just don't have a lot of inventory right now. Like that thing with CGC really kind of hurt me. Like I was counting on getting those comics back graded, so I could sell those things, and that didn't happen. So I had to turn them over to PSA and awaiting them returning from PSA before I really have much good inventory to sell. So that's what's going on with that. But I'll show you. I'll show you tomorrow. Then Dave, comic Garage Geek. Has Chonko ever destroyed any of your books? Comic books? No. Has he destroyed books? Yes. I have a bookshelf, and Chonko destroys things. The comics are separate. He doesn't get to come in the comic room or the couple rooms where I have comics. He's not allowed. Their doors are closed. He doesn't come in. But actual books, he's pulled off the bottom shelf, and he will shred those. He'll shred magazines. Like, he'll shred magazines like it's the cool thing to do. Like, he loves that. Like, if he's left alone for any time and there's a magazine, it's confetti. He loves it. Loves that. So, never any comics, but yes, books. He has destroyed. Do you collect collected editions? I do. In fact, for a while, that's all I was buying. Like, before I got really back into comics, when I would just read, I've got, like, above me, I've got a bunch of, collections of, like, trade paperbacks. I own all of the Cerebus phone books, so the collected Cerebus. I own, I don't know, a handful of omnibus editions and things like that. So I've got, like, a Infinity Gauntlet Saga, and I've got the Marvel Zombies and Walking Dead, and stuff like that in, like, omnibus form. Got the complete Alan Moore Swamp Thing. I got all the Sin City stuff. Batman Hush, Moon Knight, Batman Who Laughs, Sandman, bunch of Spectre stuff, Kingdom Come, blah blah blah. Yeah, stuff like that. I got over here. I got a bunch of EC collective stuff. Glass Ronin. Yeah. Just like I was reading a lot of that stuff. Collected Frank Miller Daredevil. Batman. When I said that. Yeah, I was reading a lot of that. When I wasn't really back into collecting, I was still reading. I just wasn't really collecting. Up until just under 3 years ago, I started collecting again. So I had a lot of my old stuff, but I wasn't buying anything new. Really, with comics, it was more just trade paperbacks and omnibus. When I wanted to read something, that's kind of how I was doing it. Can you agree that your science was skewed with no triplicate involved? I admit nothing. The science is the science. The science spoke. We determined things that were correct. I admit nothing. What's life like outside of your secret rectangular lair? Well, I work for a large pharmaceutical company. I worked in research in the past, diabetes research. I now work for the man for a big pharma company. And when I travel, I do inspections, or what we call audits, but they're inspections, not financial audits. It's an inspection of, like, the quality standards and, like, the legal requirements, like, from the FDA and things like that, for our suppliers and our labs and our distributors, that they're all following the rules. I go and I do inspections, and I make sure that everything's up to snuff, and where it's not, I write a report, create a finding, and they have to correct the thing. That's kind of what I do. The other time, during the day, when I'm not traveling, I work from home. I'm writing reports and, scheduling dates and doing, quality stuff for work. That's kind of, it's a lot of busy work, a lot of emails, that kind of thing. And yeah, we have Chonko. We go for walks, and my friends and family all live very close. And yeah. I mean, it's yeah, suburban life just outside of Chicago. Uh, and I do this. um, can you say hi at the beginning of your vid? Hi. I don't get that one. You got to explain that one to me. I have my own tagline. I'm a but actually person. I'm a teacher. That will be hysterical. The but actually video. It is coming. As I was saying, it is coming. I am going to do it. It's going to be shelved for now. Should do one on the Beatles and watch those nerds go ballistic. No, I'm not going to get it with the music nerds. I'm already treading water. I'll back you up. Hilarious. Later, do a live stream with me about Batman and the Beatles, all messed up. Hilarious. A live stream would be funny. That could be a good idea. Maybe. I don't know about the Beatles thing. Brian LCS. Congrats, Brian, on doing a great stream the other night for the awards. I thought it went really, really well. Who's your favorite comic book character, and why is it Spider-Man? Well, I would say I have some favorite comics that are Spider-Man comics. Like I did collect Spider-Man during the McFarlane run back when it originally came out. And those are still some of my favorite comics. I still think it was really, really well done. Primarily when Todd was just drawing and maybe not doing the story. But yeah, some of my favorite comics from that time. Some of my favorite comics are Spider-Man comics. ASM 129 was, like I said, it was a comic that I had when I was a kid that I had to sell and I had to reacquire as an adult. In fact, it was the first big comic I bought when I got back into comic collecting. So yeah, always been a favorite of mine because the Punisher's always been one of my favorites. But I've always been more of an anti-hero guy. For Marvel, it's always been like, Punisher, Ghost Rider, that kind of thing. Or Creepy, I'm a monster guy too, so, Man-Thing. Werewolf by Night, Tomb of Dracula, stuff. That stuff was what I really... Moon Knight, stuff like that was what I liked. And X-Men, when I was young. I was a big X-Men guy. Early to mid-'80s. Let us look. See how many more I have here. Okay. Big Nasty. Do you use beard conditioner? If so, what kind, and what's your favorite site to buy from? I don't use beard conditioner. I use a beard wash, which it's like I was using a Duchanan Buffalo Trace beard wash for some time. I'll alternate that with kind of like a Just for Men, which kind of blends the gray a little bit. So it's not like a dye, but it'll kind of blend it a little bit. And I use beard oil. And I use Grave Before Shave beard oil, and they have a lot of cool scents. I tend to stick to kind of like the bourbon or the evergreen, the kind of piney scent. But they're cool. They're really cool bottles. Like they're like got skulls on them and stuff, and you can get them on Amazon. Yeah, I get everything on Amazon that I buy. Yeah, that's what I do. I don't use like a conditioner. It's beard oil. Beard oil I find to be more important. Like I don't use the beard butters or any of that nonsense. But yeah, a good beard oil, and I oil the beard every day, and it stays nice and soft. In the humidity though, it does dry out. Beard oil. If you have a beard, use beard oil. Deadman. Chonko, do you collect any runs, or did you collect runs, or are you more of a favorite artist guy? I I am more of a favorite artist guy, but I am collecting runs, and not many. Like I'm not a guy where it's like I want to collect the entire Daredevil run, or I want to collect the entire X-Men run, or I want to collect all the Avengers. That's not me. So runs that I do have, I own. So I own everything from Cerebus. I don't own a Cerebus #1, an actual one. I've got a reprint. I own the entire run of Strike Force Morituri, which was late '80s forgotten series, but I loved it, and I like repurchased it. I own almost the full series of Boris the Bear, so that's a run. I'm still trying to work out like the handful I don't have. I'm working on the entire run of Witch's Tales, which Alan asked about, the original run, the Golden Age run of Witch's Tales, and I think I only need like 6 or 7 more, and I have that whole run. And there are a couple I'm quietly working on. I'm kind of working on Lois Lane. I have a lot of them, but that's something that'll take some time, and it's kind of like taking a backseat to a bunch of other stuff. And I am kind of sort of working on Tomb of Terror a little bit, but that's something where it's like maybe again the original Tomb of Terror. And then I have like a bunch of miniseries and stuff like that, but I don't think that's what you're asking about. Like where I have like the full thing, but I have most of the Frank Miller Daredevils. I think I have the whole series of Lone Wolf and Cub, and I got like a lot of Avengers stuff, and like there are certain things where I have like certain runs, but I'm not really working to fill it in. I don't really care that much, that I'm trying to complete it. So, favorite artist, yes, I am a favorite artist guy. I think you've seen that on the channel. I do collect certain artists like when I can, and I think you've probably seen. Like the recent ones, Shabina and Suspiria and Mark Spears and Kunka and, that Delato, those Nakayama. I do collect a lot of that stuff. But yeah, also Bruce Timm, Zirdi, yeah, stuff like that. That's more recent though. AG. How did you get real Chonko, and how did he get his name? Comic question. Do you have a strategy at Comic-Con to enjoy your time and spend your money the wisest? Really good question. Both questions. So, last year, this is before I had a channel, the same week I found out my dad was diagnosed with cancer, I had to put my dog to sleep. And that was awful. It was just an awful, terrible, terrible, heartbreaking week. And really bad. Bad. But my dog was 17 and a half. His name was Max. And he was such a good dog. And yeah, he was a little guy. He was Chihuahua, half Chihuahua and half miniature pinscher. And he was like my right-hand man. They're with me all the time, and super smart, really funny, and it was really sad to watch him go downhill. And I'm able to talk about it now, but it still chokes me up. But yeah, well, I think that's almost a year ago that happened. And one of the things that it left me with when there was no Max around was suddenly I was like. There was just kind of like this unfamiliar thing, like loneliness, like, and it was like a dark feeling. Like it wasn't like I'm lonely. It was more like there's no noise here, and I don't have any responsibility toward another living thing at all. It was just me, and it leaves you kind of alone with like. How alone you are. And so I was like, man, I gotta get another dog. And so I was thinking about the idea, and I'd always thought about getting a bulldog. And a friend of mine in Seattle had a bulldog, Her name's Erin. She watches the channel sometimes. Shout out, Erin, if you watch this time. But especially when I lived in Seattle, I should mention I lived in Seattle for 2 years. Like her dog was always really interesting to me, and I would go back and visit sometimes, and I would stay at at her place where her and her boyfriend had, and her bulldog's name was Thurmond, and it was really funny. He was almost like a person, and used to get up on the couch with you and like sit back like a human and look at you. It was so funny. I always thought, yeah, if I ever got another dog, I would get a bulldog. So I started looking. And to get an English bulldog, you have to go to a breeder. It's not something where, like my other dog was a rescue, but that's not what happens with bulldogs. Found a breeder, started looking, and there was a litter of puppies, and there was this guy, and I can't remember what they had him named as. I don't know, doesn't matter. But yeah, I just kind of was thinking about it, talking about it, and yeah, last year, my family went away for Thanksgiving. My sister and brother-in-law have a place in Florida. We spent it in Florida, and I was showing everybody and telling them what I was thinking about doing. And I contacted the breeder from there and said I'd like to come out and take a look. Drive out. It's like 3 hours away, and yeah, so that's what I did, and went out and I picked up Chonko. Yeah, he was a puppy. I can show you maybe I'll post pictures or something. I'll post them on Instagram of him as a puppy. Last November I got Chonko, and Chonko got his name from a meme. There is a video, and it's this guy saying, he's like showing this like purebred dog. And it's like, this is, Reginald. He's a 100%, whatever. It cost me $5,000, and I had to wait. I was on a year-long waiting list to get this dog. And then this other guy says, these are my babies, Chonko and fuck ass, and I found them behind a dumpster behind a Dunkin' Donuts, and I love them more than life itself. And I always thought it was a funny meme. And so Chonko got his name from a meme. Chonko's from the Chonko and fuck ass meme. That's how he was named. And then I got my name from Chonko. Just my online moniker just kind of happened to happen. Do you have a strategy at Comic-Con to enjoy your time and spend your money the wisest? Don't spend your money at a Comic-Con. Don't buy comics at a Comic-Con. That's stupid. I know everyone's going to hate that, but that's not where you buy your comics. I shouldn't be one to talk because I buy money. I waste a lot of money online on comics, but don't buy grails. Don't buy grails at Comic-Con. That's not what like. You're gonna do your dollar bins and that stuff. You'll find deals, but you're not gonna get a good deal. Not a Comic-Con. You're not gonna get a good deal on grails. That's what I would tell you. There are other places to buy grail level comics. I'll leave that part at that. But to enjoy your time at a Comic-Con, I think that a lot of times it's the only place you're ever going to meet an artist and get signatures. I would do that. I think talking to people, meeting people, that's the thing that I find fun. I'm not a dollar bin digger. I don't do that. That's not who I am. But I think that's where you're going to find your value is in digging in, the bins, like, going and buying stuff off people's walls. Like maybe if you get a card and you buy it later or something, but I would not be buying grails at Comic-Cons. I just don't think you get good deals. I guess those would be my tips for Comic-Cons. Willie, trips to South America to capture those horror books in the wild. I am going to South America, but I am not going to comic shopping. I won't have time. I'll be going to Chile and Peru later this year. But I'm going to be very busy. I won't be able to find any cool comics. Casino Comics Mike. was the first big boy book that you bought? I guess I will show one. I'll show one because it was this when I got back into collecting. This is one of the comics that I sold many years ago. That I had as a kid, and I had to sell it for Christmas presents. But when I got back into collecting, I bought this maybe 2.5 years ago. I bought that, and I bought it and immediately started dropping in price, and just recently it's like back to the level that I bought it at. So I'm about at the break-even point on that comic right now for value, but it was important to me to buy a comic that I lost, that I had to sell to buy Christmas presents many, many, many years ago. And so, yeah, that was the first really big expenditure I had on a comic. Commuted. As you bought comics with anime characters on the covers, are you an anime fan? Since you read Bug Wars and Battle Beast, what is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh monster in those books, despite the fact they're actually fakes based upon the real Yu-Gi-Oh card game? You're right, I do enjoy correcting people with facts. Looking forward to the nerd trolling video. Take it easy, Chonko. Still going to wait on the nerd trolling video, but anime fan. I don't know that I'd call myself an anime fan, but there are certain... I don't watch a lot of anime. In fact, that's one of the things I'm going to start doing. I think the channel, I might start reacting. And I might start reacting to things that I don't watch. Anime specifically. The only anime I've really watched... Demon Slayer? Is it Demon Slayer or Demon Slayer? Where the kid has his sister, and she's like part demon in the box, and the dude with the boar head, and I think it's Demon Slayers. Watched that. I'm up currently that just on Netflix. I've watched that. I really like that. I think that's a good one. I've watched all of One Punch Man, and I really like that a lot. I've watched all that's available. It's like 2 seasons or something on Netflix. I've watched Delicious Dungeon, which I love. I know it's called something else in Japanese, but here in U.S., the Americanized version of it is Delicious Dungeon, and I love it. I think it's really good. I used to watch on Saturday mornings, even as an adult, I would watch some of the Dragon Ball stuff. I mean, I almost never knew what was going on, but I would watch it and I would laugh at it. I thought it was really funny. You don't know my true power level, and I'm going to go up another power level. And we're going to talk. We're going to talk for 15 minutes before we actually fight about how powerful we are. Ha ha ha! It was always kind of silly, but yeah, watch that. Yu-Gi-Oh! I cannot make the comparison. I don't know. I don't know the Yu-Gi-Oh! Thing. That's not something. I know there's the dragon. The Silver Eyes Dragon or whatever. I know that one, and I don't know anything more. I can't really answer that one. Yeah, I think I answered the best I could on that one, I think. And the last one for this is from Crom, son of Crom. Question 1: as a former Navy service member, did you ever have to hot rack? Could you explain the situation of those who never served? Yes, I was in the Navy, and it was on a couple ships, and no, I never had to hot rack. Life for a corpsman I was a medic in the Navy is a little different. People do kind of take care of you a lot more. But I never had. Hot racking means there are certain Navy vessels, specifically like submarines, where there aren't enough beds for the people that are serving on board that ship. So when you're on a shift, someone is sleeping in your bed, and when you're off a shift, you sleep. So it's like you're sharing your bed based upon shift work. And yes, it's gross and weird, and I'm glad I didn't have to do that, but I never had to. Question 2. Speaking of nerds correcting people, does that irritate you as much as it does me, to the point where you actually click off the video and stop watching that channel for several weeks? I don't do that. And I think correcting people, it depends. Like if somebody's being helpful, like yesterday, I was making an error. I was showing this artwork, and I think it was up and Adam. Adam corrected me gently about. I kept saying that it was Lee Elias artwork and it was Johnny Craig, and I will make that mistake a lot with Lee Elias and Johnny Craig. I don't know why. It's some mental block I have. So someone correcting me about that's a good thing. I'm glad somebody mentioned, hey, you're like that. But like, yeah, when it's real pedantic and it's like, you said 1966 and it's actually 1965, or that was released in March, not May, that kind of stuff. It's like, no, dude, calm down. No, go fuck yourself. That I don't like, or when it's real pedantic, or if it's going to ruin somebody's time. It's like completely beside the point. It doesn't matter in the context that they're speaking, and someone still wants to like talk over them and overrule, like just to these too fine of a point. That I don't like. I don't like that aspect of nerd culture, and yes, I do I bristle at that. That's not what I don't like that. I don't like it. Never have. But yeah, someone makes like kind of an honest mistake. You're like, oh wait a second. I think you mean that's totally fine, because I don't mind that in day-to-day life, so I don't mind it in YouTube videos. Question 3: you mentioned in the past that you're single. If that changes in the future, will you invite your special someone to join you in your videos from time to time, or can we have an opinion collecting comics from someone who doesn't collect but is dating someone who does? I don't know that I would do that. As I mentioned, there are a couple former girlfriends who watch the channel, and I would say that I don't know. I don't know that part. We talked a little bit about this on your stream yesterday. I would think that if you're in a serious committed relationship or a marriage and you're spending a ton of money on comic books, they're going to take exception to that. But if if it's just someone that you're dating, you go out on dates, and then obviously no, that's none of their concern. Why would they care? Or they shouldn't, care about that. But yeah, I mean, if there were a woman who I were living with and she wanted to participate in this, I wouldn't have any objection to that. I mean, that would be fine. But yeah, somebody, I guess, someone who had a really negative opinion of it, I don't know. I don't know that I would be in a long-term relationship with someone like that. I guess I've been in relationships where somebody wants to try to change you and tell you how to live and blah 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 blah, and I'm usually like, nah, no thanks. I think you have one of my t-shirts. It's time for me to go. And yeah, that's what I think about that. So that's it. This is a long video. This is the longest video I've ever done, but it was worth it to answer questions. So tomorrow I'm gonna show some comics, a couple of things related to a couple of these things, and maybe I'll show some pictures too. Pictures related to Chonko and my former dog Max and that kind of thing, to help with some of the context on this. I'm gonna stop. It's less than an hour. Boy, this is a long video. Sorry for the length, but I wanted to make sure I give appropriate answers to everybody. Yes, it's Sunday. Week starting. You're going to be fine. You're going to make it through. It's okay. You're going to be okay. By Wednesday, you're going to be fine. I promise you. That's it for now, buddies. I hope your weekend went well. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're not sick like me. I'm feeling a little better today than I was. I think talking has helped. I hope you're doing well. I hope the people in your life are doing well. That's all I have for now. Have a good one. Have a great week. Bye.